What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of FBA Unlimited. My name is Jordan Johnson. I'm a full-time seven-figure Amazon seller based in Denver, Colorado. And for today's video, what we're going to be covering is exactly what does it take to be able to start your online Amazon business that allows you to quit your job, right? So a lot of people I speak to have the goal of quitting their job, working for themselves, having their own schedule, and working on their own business. But in reality, a goal without a plan is simply a dream, right? We really need to get into the specifics of what it's going to take to make this goal of working for ourselves, having our own income, a reality, right? So today what we're going to be doing is diving into exactly that in terms of hard, cold numbers. I pulled some data from a research project from Jungle Scout. We're going to be analyzing that, and I'm going to be putting in my own experience and insight into those numbers. So before we get into it, if you do like this video, please don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out and allows me to keep making these videos for you guys and helping you on your Amazon journey. So to begin with, we're going to jump into my screen for a little presentation that I put together. So the first thing that we have to think about when looking to grow our Amazon business into our full-time income is these three main things, right? We need to know how much money do we need, how much time is it going to take, and how long is it going to be before my business is going to be profitable. Okay, so starting off with the money aspect, because this for me is the most interesting aspect of the Amazon business. I'll pull up this first slide, which is a set of data which I got from the Jungle Scout website, which is showing the profit margin for small to medium business owners selling on Amazon. So as you can see, these profit margins on the left here range from people not making any money on Amazon to people making over 100% or just 100% profit on their capital invested on Amazon. And then it's broken down into the amount of sellers, the percentage of sellers which fall into each category. So to quickly analyze this, what I did was I grouped these percentages into like what I think is easier way to understand the data. So the first group, which is 16% of the Amazon sellers, either are unprofitable or unknown. If you don't know your profit, it most likely means you are not profitable. All right, so we'll count 16% people as not making any money. They're actually losing money. The next group, the 20%, are making a fairly low profit margin. They're making between 1 and 10%. The next group making 11 to 20% at 33. And finally, I'd say the 21 to 100, which is roughly 32% of sellers are claiming, that is another group. So from my experience and from knowing other Amazon sellers, I think it's realistic to expect approximately the 11 to 20% net profit margin for your first year, right? So you can expect from your capital that can be your return from your sales. One thing that's really important that I want to state right now at the beginning is you need to think about profit margin and not revenue. Right, so revenue, when you see a lot of other YouTubers and a lot of people talking about Amazon, they can show revenue figures in the millions, tens of millions, a lot of money. But what really matters, what really counts at the end of the day is how much money they are making in terms of profit. And that's why I talk about profit margin and not sales, right? I'm more interested to know what is their take home at the end of the day. So myself personally, I fall within the 11 to 20% range. So I definitely think that's what you should be basing your calculations on. Another quick note, which I've put down here at the bottom, is your profit margin will depend on how quickly you scale, right? So if you're just starting off on Amazon and you're, for example, wanting to do online arbitrage, you might be able to get a higher profit margin because you can be more selective with deals, you have less expenses, which allows you to get a higher return. But as soon as you scale, as soon as you're trying to grow this business to be making a full-time income, there's going to be a lot of expenses which are going to be coming towards the business, which are going to reduce that profit margin. So I listed some here just from my experience. So obviously software is a big component. Every month you're paying out software, which helps you and your team find products. You obviously have your team, right? Your team salaries. You have to pay your employees every month. You also have to think about loan fees and interests, right? So when you start to scale and need more capital, you need to think about what you're paying in interest and deduct that from your total ROI. And then a couple others, so you have professional services. So as you grow, you're going to need a bookkeeper, you're going to need a tax accountant. All of these things happen when you're growing your business, but they reduce your profit margin, so you really need to think about it. And finally, something that a lot of people don't talk about is liquidation of inventory, right? So not every product that you purchase is going to be a winner, right? There's going to be factors outside your control that can reduce the potential profit of the product, and sometimes you have to sell that product for a break even, or sometimes even a loss, to get your money back and reinvest. So although when you're sourcing products, you're going to see 30% ROI, 40% ROI, you need to know that this does not equal your profit, right? There's a lot of expenses you need to take into account, which is going to affect your bottom line. Right? So in conclusion, I think we can agree that we have three main groups. We have a 20% here that are making, let's say, 5%. We have 33% that are making 15%. And then we have the last group, which is making approximately 35%. If we know how much average profit people are making, what I like to do is work backwards to see what I need to spend to be able to make the profit I require. So jumping on to the next slide here, we can see the capital required to quit your job, right? So on the left is the required monthly profit. So you can put any figure you want for this number. I just took an average of the average salary in the US, and it approximately works to $4,000 monthly profit. So that's what I put for most people to quit their job. We have the net profits here, so that was from the previous slide of 5, 15, and 30. And then on the right is the amount of money you need to spend each month to be able to generate that profit, right? So in the most realistic example of 15%, you can see that you need to spend over $26,000 a month on inventory to be able to make the profit required to quit your job, right? So when starting out on Amazon, 26,000, that sounds like a ton of money. And trust me, when I first started, I wouldn't dream about spending 26 grand on inventory in a month. So just wanted a couple notes for those who are like, whoa, that's a lot. Everyone starts small, right? We're going to get into this in the next slide of what people actually start with, but you can build Amazon little by little. This is the goal. 26,000 spend a month is the goal. That's what you need to quit your job. But just because you start Amazon this month doesn't mean it's going to produce enough income for you to quit your job, right? It's a goal we're working towards. So we need to get a plan on how can we access this money and eventually grow to that we're spending $26,000 a month, sorry. Secondly is all about capital, right? So $26,000, I'm guessing most people don't have that just laying around. And even if you did, I wouldn't recommend that you just throw it into an Amazon business. You need to learn how the model works and prove the system works before you invest. But when you're doing Amazon, when you're working with Amazon, you realize you need to leverage capital, right? You need to leverage loans. You need to use loans to grow your business. A lot of people use credit cards to get started, and that was my own story and an example. When I first got started, I got really lucky, and an old credit card of mine gave me a 0% APR for 12 months with a $20,000 limit, right? Great, that's a free loan. So what I was able to do is max out that card and turn that inventory and use that to kickstart my business on Amazon. So there's a lot of different ways to find money and eventually grow it into your business. And finally, I just want to talk about the idea of compounding. So Warren Buffett famously said about the snowball rolling down the hill, right? As the snowball starts small, as it goes further and further down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger. That kind of also works with Amazon as well. So say if you start off with a certain amount of money, you purchase products, that products generate profit. That profit can then be reinvested into more products that you sell for more profit than then can be reinvested, right? So this whole snowball grows. And that's how I was able to grow my business from $0 to over $1.2 million in the first year of operating on Amazon. All right, so as I mentioned, we know we need 26,000 to make approximately to make our $4,000 profit a month. But what we need to understand is how much you need to get started. Again, I really want to emphasize this. As you can see from this data, the vast majority, I think it's like 70% of sellers start with less than $5,000, right? $5,000 is a lot of money, but it's achievable. It's achievable for you to save that money to start your business and gain financial freedom. In my own example, I only started with $1,000, right? So I started with $1,000 that I was able to do a load of research on YouTube, find products, find out how it works, and then prove the model with that 1,000, right? So I was able to buy $1,000 worth of products, sell those products, and figure out, hey, this is actually making me money. I can see how I can scale this and grow this business again and again and again. Okay, so we can see with both those in terms of how much you need to have, which is $26,000 approximately spend a month, and you don't need a lot to start. Right, so the next really important factor in thinking about your Amazon business and starting it is time, right? The most valuable resource there is. So this is again pulling data from Jungle Scout. What's really important to know from this is time, and the way I think about it is time spent on your Amazon business is going to have a very close correlation to your growth, right? So in my personal experience, I quit my job kind of cold turkey and was looking for a business opportunity, found Amazon, and I was able to dedicate all of my time into Amazon. I was taking it as a full-time job in terms of learning on YouTube, actually doing the action of purchasing and running the business, and then networking in groups that were in my local community. So I was putting in a ton of time, right? And that allowed me to scale super quickly. Okay, but that's not the only option, right? You can also start small and expand your business with time, right? There's another option. So you can see that a good over 50% are spending less than 20 hours on their business a week. Right, so most likely they're able to do this on time after work and time on the weekend, right? So this is really important if you're in your 9 to 5 right now and you're looking to quit, is you don't need to go full time into this, right? You can keep your job, you can keep your income and invest your income into your business and eventually grow your business to the point where you're able to just have more income from your business than your job and effectively quit your job, right? So with time, definitely the more time you spend on your Amazon business, the quicker you're going to grow. But if you're not in that position where you don't have a lot of time, you can still get started. The majority of sellers right here, 40%, are less than 10 hours a week. So if you really want to quit your job, I'm sure you can find an extra 10 hours either on weekends or after work to be able to jumpstart your Amazon business. And then finally, what I wanted to talk about is the time to profitability. So as I mentioned, when I quit my job, I was kind of looking to start a business and I wasn't sure where I was going to go. I looked at a lot of different startup ideas, and what I realized quickly is Amazon is super unique, as in you can start a business and become profitable very quickly. Okay, so in my own experience, I was able to get profits within the first month, definitely. I started in Q3 and Q4, which helped because I had a high amount of sales. But because I chose the online arbitrage business, I was able to get a business up and running and profitable very quickly. It is known, as I said, if you are doing other models such as wholesale or private label, they can take a little bit more time to get profitable. That's why I recommend everyone to start with online arbitrage, and you can get more information on the different business models in the previous video that I made in the link above. Okay, so Amazon's pretty unique. You can get profitable fairly quickly, especially if you're putting in the time, you're studying, you're learning. You can become profitable quickly, which is going to help you quit your job quicker than before. Okay, so to summarize, what I would do if I was you and looking to quit your job is estimate your profit margin, right? I would go for between the 10 and 20%. Obviously, we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I think you can be fairly accurate with that. And then work backwards to find out what capital is going to be required per month to achieve that goal, right? When you find that number, in this example, we had 26,000, you don't need to get there today, right? You just need a plan to be able to get there eventually. You can start small, right? Most Amazon sellers starting with less than $5,000. I started with only 1,000. As I said, now I'm making around $200,000 a month, but started really small, learned the system and grew from there. And as we saw also, the profitability is very, very quick to get with Amazon, which allows you to grow your business, especially in these economic uncertain times. You really want to have a business which you know is going to be profitable from the get-go and give you that ticket to financial freedom. And last thing I wanted to mention before closing out is the most important step is the first one, right? The most important step in anyone's Amazon journey is actually starting, right? You can watch all of the guides, YouTube you want, but you'll never know until you get into the arena and you actually try for yourself. So if you're thinking about it, definitely do your due diligence, definitely use these numbers to think for yourself on what results you think you can get, but you need to get started and get a plan to get started today, all right? All right, guys, so that is everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you are a new seller and you're looking to sell on Amazon, if you have any questions about any of the sums I used, any of the data, or any knowledge or questions you have before getting started, please just let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to help anyone out with their Amazon journey. And as always, thanks for watching, guys, and until next time.